Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back again, just chopping it up with some friends. We have Patrick and Miguel. How y'all doing
Yep.
today?
Good. Good. It's cold outside.
It's,
It is very cold.
It's freezing. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I got
Man,
I
I
got
really
10 inches
appreciate
of
it.
snow yesterday here in Southern Virginia.
Oh, that's right.
So they told us to stay off the roads yesterday and today, and hopefully by tomorrow it'll be cleared up. But we shall
okay.
see.
Okay. Yeah. We were supposed to get those 10 inches too, but
It
went
went off.
around us.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
went
yeah,
around us.
Yeah,
It went
but
around us.
for our
And
area, that's like historical amounts of snow. So
yeah.
we panic down in the South about everything.
you're
Yeah.
over by Regent, right? University?
Yeah, near Virginia Beach. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm getting all the notifications that saying 2 hour delay, no school today. I'm getting all of that. So I know it's
Yep.
crazy out there. I know it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Don't get
Yep.
it twisted, GP. You come to Maryland and it's the same thing. People panic when it rains.
I believe it.
It's a thing.
You sure
Yeah.
right about
The
that.
question is, who has the worst drivers, Virginia or Maryland?
That's the
Maryland.
thing. That's the thing. All right, it depends. It depends. If I see somebody with Virginia plates in Maryland, I'm concerned. I'm 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 concerned. If I see them in Baltimore, I'm running away.
Wow.
I think you're
I'm
right.
running away.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Not
I
doing
think
it.
you're right.
All right. Well, let's jump right in. So,
No, hold on, man. I got to make sure I share this
yeah, sure.
because
Share the
this
stream. We're
is
just
this
chopping it
is
up.
this is
Um,
important for me right
Mr.
now.
Patrick had the audacity to ask us for some advice. Like someone older
Yeah,
than us is asking people younger than him for advice. But I guess something called reverse mentorship works and is a real thing. So what you're about to watch is two young men school an old man. And so we hope you
listen,
enjoy the show. But he had two concerns. Patrick was concerned about branding and
Yeah.
focus. So I'm going to allow Patrick in the hot seat to share his concerns, and we will endow our wisdom upon you.
yeah, and you know what? I'm really happy for that. I follow you. First of all, we all on another podcast. We're on another podcast together, so we know how we all operate. And I was on a podcast with my brothers during the pandemic, and for our community, it was huge. It was
Yeah.
huge for our
Yeah.
community. It was
Yeah.
big. We did it every Friday. It was at a weird time, like 3 in the afternoon, and three. But we found that niche because a lot of people were home, and
Yeah.
based on our religious concerns, when it got to the winter time, we kind of took that into our religious jargon. So it worked for us. The Then we split. You know, the honest truth is, and I heard you use this term before. I follow you, especially over the past 3 months or so, and you use, what is it called when your podcast
Pod fade.
pod fade? That's the word,
Mm.
right? So I'm just giving you a little bit background here. So we hit a fade moment, especially that we had to quote unquote go back to work.
Mhm.
Everybody was doing their own thing again. It was really difficult. And then I can say this, it's not a problem saying this, my twin and I, we're more techies, and my older brother is not much of a techie, but he's like Miggs, he's an informationalist. You know what I mean? He's just always coming up with something. He's well read, all of that. So,
Brilliant
but
guy.
we couldn't find the bond right there. And we decided, without fighting, there was no fighting and fussing and carrying on. We decided it was time to end. All right, it wasn't abrupt, Mix. I think it took like a month or so, and we just said, "Hey, at the end of April or something like that, we're gonna go and do our thing."
Mhm.
So, what ends up happening now is I like to do a lot of things. All right, let's get to the crux of this. I like to do a lot of things, and so what ends up happening is mental health ministry is my thing. Mental health is my thing, right? While I was in ministry, I found that it was important for me to do ministry of mental health, especially with young people.
Mhm.
Went back to school, and I said, man, I didn't even scratch the surface yet, as far as it's concerned. Then I started to follow other mental health podcasts, and boom, anytime you're talking about depression or any of those things, stress, anxiety, it's just hit. I mean, it's just hit. All right. So the problem with me is that I like to do other things. So give you an example, I like to fix stuff around the house and
DIY.
show. Right? Yeah, I'm a DIYer. There's no doubt I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna try to do it first before the professionals have to come in and fix what I did wrong or whatever. Even my cars, my brakes, my transmission, all of that. I'm gonna go to YouTube first to try to figure it out. I'm narrowing it down real quick. So I like to do those type of things, and I like to record it, put it up. I like to do this day in the life of a pastor because a lot of people don't know what pastors do, right? They kind of think that all we do is speak, and we don't go to the bathroom. We don't do none of that. So that's that's another thing. I like to and I like to travel. When my wife travels, I like to travel and show where I'm at, this, that, and the other.
Travel
I
blogging.
do. Yep, I do lessons online. Here's another one. I do stock market, teach stock market online. It's just too much happening right now, right? And so I have 700 and something on my 700 so and so followers on my stock market thing, right? My pastoral thing, I just changed to doctor because I could change that thing on there. It's 100 and something people. But MSAD, it's now growing, right? Is growing. My regular page has over 10,000 followers. That's my
Wow.
regular page, right? That's just my regular Facebook page. But it's not translating. I don't care what anybody say. Listen to me carefully, y'all. I'm putting my heart out there. While everybody says, man, Pat is the guru in online stuff or social media, that I ain't touched the surface yet. 10,000 is not the surface, if you get where I'm going. And let me put this out there. The reason why I think I had so many for so long is because some years ago, podcasts, right? It's in steps. I used to have a podcast called Croissant Shop. And Croissant Shop, I had Croissant Shop. I was one of the first that came out on Blog Talk Radio. I had Croissant Shop every Tuesday night and stuff. And we were talking about religious stuff, what your wife can bring and your husband could bring to bed. We were talking about stuff that we don't talk about on the pulpit. And I think I got a lot of followers through that. So let me tell you why I'm coming to you guys now, because I hit a brick wall because there's too much happening. There's too much happening. There's no focus to one thing. That's one. And the other thing is that once I find that focus, whatever it is, now I got to brand that thing. All right. One of my friends put out yesterday, gas.
Don't talk about me.
And let me tell you, you know when you're in an altar call and you're like, oh snap, he talking about me. My studio, what I have here is a dream, right? So I'm driving a Ferrari. That's my man right there.
What's up, Dr. Roby?
Yeah,
Roby.
I'm driving a Ferrari in a 25 mile per hour zone.
Yeah.
And every time it's time for me to get on the Belt Parkway with it, I'm like, nah, I'll go ahead and stay on the Condor. I'm good. Migs, you know what I'm talking about?
I know.
In other words, I got 4 cameras sitting right in front of me. Right?
Let me get 2.
I got my Rodecaster, because y'all gonna do me. Y'all gonna get me crazy. I got my 3 lights up here. I got my Hammond organ to the side. I got my native instrument. I have my native instrument sitting over. Yeah, that's
Dr. D.
Doctor. We're down on when we do our mental health together. I got my recording studio on the side, a room, a control room. Everything is here. Yeah, man, I'm like, I'm like, I don't know where to go, man. I got all these cars in my driveway, and I ain't got nowhere to go. I don't got nowhere to go, man.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying I got to come to the gurus to say to myself,
Well,
I need
Patrick, you
some
are a
focus.
man of many talents and
Correct.
abilities, and you have a lot of things that you can do well. But
Mhm.
as it comes to what you're known for, we really can't quite pin you for one thing.
Right.
You're a choir director, you're a music
Yeah.
junkie.
Yeah.
Let me say what's up to Mr. Trofert. What's up, man?
That's my man. That's my
You
man.
do a lot of things, and a lot of things interest you. But the question I have for you is, what makes your heart sing? What brings you the most joy? What are you most passionate about? If you could choose just one thing, which one thing would you ride to your grave?
I can't bring a box with me, man. I can't bring a bag. Let's look at the psychology of some things. I'm a grown man, 54 years old, but something happens when I get that like. Something happens when I put something out on Facebook and they are discussing it even without me. All right.
Mhm.
And most of it is in the biblical side of it, right? Thanks, Bert. Man, hearing it from you is a big deal. And
What's up, Wendell?
so I'm at this place where I am one of those guys. I don't lose sleep at night when I don't get likes. That's not me. That's not it. I don't. I'm far from that. I'm not there. Some people are there, but I'm not there. But it does something to me when I put something out on Facebook and it lights up the place. It lights up the place. The sad part about it is that I can't answer that question, and I'm religious and I'm spiritual. I'm gonna go more to spiritual. I have to talk to God about that because I heard him tell me it's time to do something different. All right. I heard it. It's loud and clear. And sometimes when I sit in at certain tables, social media is not accepted by everyone. And, it's not. So I'll give you an example. I was talking to somebody about, we were in Jamaica a couple of days ago. We were talking about dating. And these two people met online. Those of us who were married in the 90s, we were like, online is smut, or meeting online is that means we haven't caught up yet to recognize that all of these things that's online is not bad. It's just that we ain't catch up to it. So really and truly, I don't know. I think mental health is my heart. I'm sorry. I know that I'm never going to leave the ministry. I know I was called to organize ministry. All right. I can't spell it any other way than that, right? I'm not walking away from pastoral work. I'm not walking away from any of those things. I was born to do that. But God gave me a tool, which is stress, anxiety, and depression. And those are some things that I have gone through myself that I am almost at 100% healed with, that I know I need to share that with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I am. If I could bring those two worlds together in some way or another, that's why I'm coming to you. And I'm not trying to push your joint, because I know that you have said, yeah. She worked with me on mental health. I know that the reason why I'm asking you for this is because me and Megs have been in so many conversations that I stopped talking to him. And that's not a negative thing. It's just that when he's telling me something, I'm overwhelmed with it. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, hold off 1 second, Megs, because Megs, when I'm dealing with ADHD, adult ADHD, I'm dealing with trying to keep things together. And you young bucks are throwing things at me. Oh yeah, we did an album together,
which is fire, by the way.
The sleep album. It'll put you to sleep in a minute.
Yeah,
it'll put you to sleep. Roberto made that album for me in a couple of years back. But here's what I'm saying. I know God called me to this, but I think I have people in my mind that I want them to see me do DIYs. All right. Or Migs, yep, that's it. Sleep with him. It's a play on words, right? Sleep with him, but they're hymns. Oh, and it has brown noise behind it, which relaxes you and puts you to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm coming to you all to be able to do this. I want to be able to say, I'm pushing your thing here, because when you decided that you're going to go out and teach us, I automatically can think about 10 people who's going to say, Pat, let's go to Justin. That you need to go to Justin's class, because I know No, I'm not going there because you're going to be giving away.
Somebody's going to get to go home with an MV7i.
That's a strange way to say my name, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, call me Sure. Call me Sure. Just call me Sure. Not Albie, but just call me Sure. I just dated myself. So here's what it is, GP Migs. To me, you guys, I'm coming to you to say I need to be focused. And you asked me that question. I need to be focused, and I need to work at that. I'm a worker bee anyway. But I need to work at what that focus point is, or that focal point is. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
So if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So
oh my goodness,
who is your audience when it comes to managing stress, anxiety, and depression?
This guy just
who is your audience? Identify your avatar.
Hate this guy.
Is there an age range? Young people, adults in the workforce, retirees, veterans? Hone in on your demographics and who you're targeting to reach, and just go all in. Now, it sounds easier than it is done, but you have to identify who you want to reach, because you can't reach everybody with your MSAD message.
Yeah.
And the more niche down you get, the deeper you'll be able to go, and the farther you'll be able to journey with your specific targeted avatar group. So you won't be missing out on anything.
You know why that's hard for me? Because I want to reach everybody. Listen, we're sitting in this classroom right now, and I'm not going to be able to learn if I don't put that thing on the table. Do you understand what I'm saying? I got to be able to put what it is on the table. And what he says, your demographics or your analytics from, okay, I got you. I understand that. I'm not going to be able to put it out there unless I'm truthful to where I am. Right. I want to be able to have the spin of a spiritual leader who have struggled in mental health. And I want that podcast. I want to normalize. See, here I go again. That's something different. But I want to normalize mental health.
That's still very general.
Yeah.
Because there's a specific person that you could reach or target. You want to target men? Young adults?
35 to 45. Black male living in metropolitan
3-4 years from now, when you're looking for a brand sponsorship deal, they're going to say, who's your audience? And if you say, this is my audience, then they'll say, oh, well, this product is definitely consumed by your audience, so let's give you a brand deal. So you're setting yourself up for the future, for the long haul, when you hone in on who you want to reach from the beginning, instead of just casting a wide net.
Yeah.
It might mean starting over. On social media, you have
I
to
don't know
be
if it
intentional
means
about it.
starting over per se,
Okay.
Pat. I think
Okay.
it's about leveraging your momentum. Um, you already have data, like you know the clients that you've worked with. You know the people that when you left the conversation, you felt like you've made an impact, and others where you're like, I'm not sure this aligns with the people that I want to work with. Like you already have that data. You know there are folks that you're like, yeah, I don't know if this fits the model, the business model of who I would want to reach. I think the thing that what I'm hearing, I should say, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What I'm hearing is that you thrive. I think we all kind of identify with this, with the feeling of making impact. So creating the conversation is the impact for you. That's the feedback loop that you can
Mm-hmm.
start a conversation and walk away,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can kind of change the temperature of the room without you being present. And so I think MSAD, from all the things that I know and what you've said, seems to be the thing that would probably create the impact, not just on a one-on-one basis, but in terms of creating content and creating conversation. So whose voices or who do you want to impact? What are the conversations you want to have as it concerns, mental health?
John Coachman, by the way,
Yeah,
is I follow
that's my
him. I
brother right
follow
there.
him. Oh,
Powerful
he
pastor,
is.
mental health therapist, relationship
Yep.
guru. He's the guy.
Yep. He is. That's when. That's where I see myself. Age don't bother me. I don't care about these young bucks. Age don't bother me. But I watch them. I watch him. I watch Dave Defoe. I watch. Now they don't have social. They're not in it tight like Coaxum. I follow him. I follow Seth. You know, because there's space out here for all of us. There's no
Plenty room.
this. I don't look at. Matter of fact, I was just talking to somebody about putting out a 90-day cards like Coaxum did. Coaxum has it's like a card thing, and I said to myself, "Man, I don't want to do that because he did it." And then I'm saying to myself, "What? Don't think that way. Think that there's a whole world to get to. Instead of trying to worry about." Like, is he going to be mad because I'm copying him or because I'm doing some of our greatest podcasts is watching other podcasts and see how they do it, but I like that style. And what you guys are telling me is hard. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not that easy. It's hard because there's something about me that I would have to readjust in order to move forward with that. I don't know.
Well, all right. So I want to say, like, it's very Brooklyn. I don't know if anyone can identify that, but I know in Brooklyn, like, executing on an original idea is really like the creme de la creme. If anyone can say that you're abiding their style, I think when we open up our minds to the world around us, there are very few original ideas. Like Elon Musk, Tesla didn't create electric cars.
Right.
They're not the first people to make electric cars, right?
Sure.
They just did it at a certain standard that a lot of people liked, and they made a successful business model. And Elon is not the originator of Tesla. He bought Tesla.
That's right. You're right.
And Apple was not the first phone.
Right.
It's true.
Right. And so it's okay to revolutionize an idea or to adapt an idea that would fit with your model and your demographics. So definitely don't, because you're a creative mind. Don't pigeonhole yourself to having to be the first to market for it to be considered great. The first iteration of ideas, very rarely are they really, think about the cell phones from the 80s. You would not walk around with that today.
They're gonna come back. They're gonna come back. Just give it a few months.
And walk around with a rotary phone.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I think that's me. Something just happened to me. Can
All
you
right.
hear me?
We hear you, but we'll wait to get your video back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
I know
don't know.
that's definitely a Brooklyn thing, man, and I understand.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who feel like if I focus on one particular thing, then I'll miss out on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Guys, I'm sorry. I got to switch this camera. I'm not sure what I did right or wrong.
You got 4 of them things.
You did something, man.
Stop it. Stop it. I'll get it together.
All right. So Miguel, tell me, what are you working on? Oh, there you are. Here you are. Back to Pat in the hot seat. Here we go.
Okay. So I didn't, when I switched the cameras, I didn't put done. Let me just in the background, in the green room, you got to press done. Duh. Yeah. Go ahead, guys. Come at me, man. Come at me.
So you currently have a podcast about mental health, and you post weekly or bi-weekly. How often are you creating content for that? Monthly?
My plan was to come out every 2 weeks because of the depth of it, right?
Can you talk for 2 hours?
No, an hour. But I think, but from the one that I saw from the first one and the second one, I realized that I needed about an hour and a half I'm losing their openness at the time when they're really getting opened up about their depression or anxiety and how they're dealing with it. We're coming to a close, and I need to give them more time to be able to deal with that. So I've only had about 3 of them. The first one had about 300 and something views, but it changed lives. Do you understand what I'm saying? It changed lives. And I think that's what I care about the most. Even though you want the big numbers, I want the 100,000 followers or the 1 million followers. I do want that. But when somebody calls that person that I interviewed and said, listen, that has changed my life. I know where I'm going now, or I know what I want to do. That covers for me. There are those who are calling me saying, I would love to be interviewed about the death of my mother or how I made it through with medication and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm a little, I don't want to say lazy. I think I'm fearful. I'm fearful of failure. I'm not a lazy person. I forget about that. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. And the only thing that's going to stop me is fear of what is it going to look like? Is it going to be one person watching? You know how we look on, sometimes, or you say, okay, do I have to share this? There's one thing I don't do, and I'm going to tell you this. I've learned this a long time ago. I don't do a lot of tagging people. Dr. Jones has taught me in our preaching class that good meat makes its own gravy. So, and that's for preaching, but I use that for everything else. So to me, I want to draw them, even though tagging and all that's a good tool, sharing and all that's a good tool. I feel that once that thing goes live or out there, I want people to be able to say, okay, we got to get on there. There's something happening or there's something going on, etc. And I think I have a fear that if that doesn't happen, it's considered failure. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have to get my mind set together with that.
Well, you mentioned that you don't do it for the income. You do it for the outcome. You want to transform lives. You want to make a difference in the mental health of others.
Yes.
But we just have to figure out who exactly that target audience is. Because it's not everybody. As much as you want it to be,
sure,
it's not.
Right.
And so when you talk about focus, once you hone in on who you want to reach, that should determine your why and who. So I know why I'm doing it. I know who I'm trying to reach. That clarity allows you 2, 3, 5 years from now to 10x yourself. So remember, you're doing this for the long game, right? This is not just to look cute. Like, you want to still be doing this 10 years from now, don't you?
Yes.
This is your retirement plan, right?
Precisely. You could say that, because I'm going to tell you, with my degree, as of this date, I have not passed my licensure yet. There's no shame in my game. I'm just busy, but I'm getting, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, I should defend for my doctorate. Definitely before May. I just want to do it before, but definitely before May. I'll have my PhD in trauma and crisis, and I don't see myself behind a desk or on a couch doing therapy. I don't see that anymore. I'm doing coaching now because I can do coaching, but I'm not doing therapy. I'm putting that in air quotes. What I see myself traveling to different areas. I see myself as a speaker,
Okay.
discussing mental health in the corporate space. I see myself in the next couple of years as being sought after to normalize this thing. In my mind, call it whatever. In my mind, I'm going out there to speak for 10 grand, 15 grand. Have at least 60 or 70 different seminars that I'm called to. This is dreams that I'm talking about. Meanwhile, never leaving what God has given me to shepherd as far as the church is concerned. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's what I see. So when I'm looking at the long game, I only have about 10 more years in ministry. I'm talking about as a pastor in ministry. Past 63, 64, I'm 54, I'm going to be 55. I see myself paving a way in not just Christianity, but in the market, to be able to make people comfortable in talking about mental health issues. That's what I see going on. And I can see myself doing that all the way to 80 years old. You
Okay.
know what I mean? If Jesus don't come. That's what I see.
All right. So I like what you said, Pat, but there perhaps may be 5,000 other people in the world with that same goal.
Sure.
I want to be known for mental health. I want to be an expert in my area. Question is, what makes Patrick different? And when you lean into your own uniqueness and pair that with your passion and focus and clarity, you'll be known for one thing, because nobody else can do it like you. So what makes you different, Patrick, of all the mental health therapists in the world?
The only word that I could come up with right now is been there, done that. I know that most of us as therapists have been through something, and which is the reason why we do it. You know what I mean? But I think that I have suffered with it for so long that I can help people manage this thing from experience. And I know somebody else may have that same thing, but that's all I have right now. When I speak about it, I can say I've been there. I've burned out before. I've been, and what are the solutions to that? And I'm Black, and I'm a Black male
From New York.
in this field. That'll help too. I mean, being from New York will help too. But I think the biggest thing is that we're still unicorns in this thing. Maybe not by the time I reach 80 years old, but because so many people are now doing this. But what you're asking me to do is for me to do some introspection on what is it that's me. So I'm grateful for this video because I'm not taking notes on, but I'm going to go back and look at what you have said because I don't have that. You know, when I wake up in the morning and I talk to God in the morning, which is a whole different thing. My thing is, world, God, what do you want me to do for the world? That's too huge as it is. So just to listen to this and say, okay, Pat, you got to narrow down what you want to do. You got to narrow down what is it that that's going to make you who you are. I think that's it. Is it about Pat or the people Pat's helping?
I think it's both.
Yeah, I think it's
I think it's both. I think Pat, you would be uniquely positioned
Mhm.
to help high level managers, people who have led. You know, if you think about youth ministries and you correlate the size of youth ministries
Sure.
versus someone in a industry, on the pressure of performance and dealing with anxiety and burnout, that you'd be able
Sure.
to speak and coach them through the transitions of leadership,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
young leadership is often celebrated on the way up, but established leaders are often ridiculed and criticized at a different level.
Gotcha.
You were doing the same thing,
Sure.
but because people have become familiar with you, it's easy to throw you to the side. And so there's some anxiety about leaders at different stages, and I think you can help people navigate that and the
Wow.
anxiety
Yep.
of staying or feeling what is it called? Feeling relevant in a changing world.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're kind of communicating there because you still have that desire, like that fire is still within you, right?
Mm.
It's how do I transition now from being Pat 20 something or 30 something in the ministry to being more of a mentor role now,
Right.
or creating something new and not feeling like, oh man, I should have done this 10 years ago, which everybody feels that. Everyone in our minds, like, man, if I planted the seed 10 years ago, I could have been X, Y, and Z. How do we battle through those thoughts,
Sure.
of comparison, that everyone's struggling with,
Yeah.
I think you'd be uniquely positioned to be able to coach people through that.
Yeah. I love what you just said, Miguel, because Patrick has years of intergenerational leadership, management. I mean, you talk about performing under pressure. Like, there's a lot of responsibility in his previous position. And so you can leverage that in the corporate space in the avenue of mental
Yeah.
health. And you are still focused, clear, doing something you enjoy, doing something you're passionate about, sharing about
Sure.
what you've been through from your expertise and from your experiences. And so this is something I think you could do, and you're not pigeonholing yourself. You're actually, did you see how Miguel just said you're still doing what you're doing, but just to that audience, and how wide you can go, how deep you can go? So by focusing on one thing, you only win, you never lose.
Yeah.
I've even looked at, because I like to do things, I just like to keep moving. And I want to bring this back to podcast, because the truth is that that's how I will get out there in that space, is podcasting. Which is the reason why I called you guys on this, is even though I like the psychological thriller of what we're talking about and who I am, there's still a technical piece of this. This is changing, constantly changing, right? The choir. I have no problem saying this, but there's no more choirs, right? So there's like a lot of praise teams, but there's no more choirs.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Right. And believe it or not, excuse me, the choir is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. The choir is what I want to do to start in order to catch fire everywhere else to get choirs going again. So yeah, I want to do this, but I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. You understand what I'm saying? I'm even looking at, when I started Dynamic Praise, Owen was nowhere to be found until somebody said this guy's the best guy we've had, right? If I had kept Dynamic Praise, it probably would not be a Dynamic Praise because it was called Freshman Choir back then. The point I'm making is that there's somebody else that can take that from you. There's somebody else that can take my church from me if I get moved somewhere else. But this is one thing that I don't want to be taken from me. This is one thing that it's mine. It's not the conferences. It's not the unions. It's not this. I selfishly want to be what God has given me to get out there in the world to help somebody else. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to talk about the 10 Commandments in this. I don't want to talk about we're not taking medication. I want to talk about how weed helps. I'm sorry, but it does. You know what I mean? As far as I want to be able to expand that thing where I can help the next person. I'm looking for intersection.
The beautiful thing about podcasting is that you can leverage your expertise and also connect with other thought leaders on your topic and network. So strategic networking. Every interview that you do, it's networking.
Yeah.
You are spotlighting someone else, making them look good, learning from them, sharing with them, and they're going to leave that interview knowing who you are and what you are about. And I guarantee you, there are 10 people that person you just interviewed who could book you for something else. So you have to think about the strategic flow that you have as a podcaster. So that's why you got to come to the podcasting masterclass, because I'm going to share some information about how podcasters can be compensated for every interview they complete.
You see,
I'll say no more.
First of all, I'm your friend. I'm expecting not to pay to get into that part.
The masterclass will be free.
Okay.
Really?
It'll be free.
Now, it's not going to be that Bible thing that if you bring 10 people, you get the big Bible or the big
No. Everyone will have a chance to register, and you'll get the email. You'll show up. We'll be on Zoom, and one person will leave with this.
Man, that's crazy.
Being mailed to their house. And, we'll see how I feel. I have other stuff too, Samson Q2U. I mean, I got some stuff. So we'll see what happens. But I've always been a generous person. And I believe that when you give to others, you get it back tenfold. And so as a shore lover, I was like, you know what? Let me just give this gift to somebody else. Oh, you have that mic. Okay, great. So you don't need it.
I got that one. I need the other one though. I need, yeah.
Sure. I know time is rolling out of here, but one of the things why I feel that is necessary to have a podcast coach, which is what I'm calling you, is because this thing changes quick. It just changes so fast. One day it's this, and the next day it just flips to something else. When we saw that TikTok was going out, everybody panicked, and what's going to be next now? I'm on this Lemonade or whichever, and I'm on this, that, and the other. I need one focus point. And right now I'm thinking Facebook, YouTube.
Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Because Patrick, if you're podcasting, you already have the gear, you have the cameras, you know how to use Ecamm. You'll save time, your workflow. Let's say you go live for 30 minutes. It stays. Then you take the video content, you put it into Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has audio leveling capabilities. You then send it from Buzzsprout to all those audio platforms, 10 or 15 of them. Then you put that video up into Opus Clip, AI platform that will give you captions, put it in small form, vertical, ready to go for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, IG, X, and you can brand and bring people back to where the full interview is. So you are cutting your workflow because you don't have to worry about video recording, then editing, so just go live and then repurpose that content, and you won't have to commit more than 1 hour a week on your podcast.
Let me just add one more thing with specifically the way that. Have you used it before, Pat? I feel like you've used it.
What?
Opus Clip.
Paul used it, and it blew my mind, man.
Okay. All right. So let me say this for you or anybody who hasn't used it. I've only used the free version because I don't know. Anyway, with Opus Clip, what's cool is it gives you a rating for all of your clips.
Yeah.
It tells you which ones might be
most engaging and least
engaging. Yeah.
Wow.
And so you can select. You don't have to post all of the clips. It might produce like 20 clips. You just pick 2 or 3 and, put it out there.
Yeah. Listen, in the podcast class, right? I mean, the master. No, the reason, listen, guys, let me tell you something. I like new stuff. I don't know. Can you play that gas thing right now for everybody? Can you play that? Or
I don't have it queued up. But
okay.
Yeah, Cerise, definitely send your friend because we're gonna have this masterclass next month, and I would love to send her the information.
That's her daughter. Yeah. Let me just put it this way: when my wife is tired of me buying something new, right? And she thinks I'm using it because I always got it. But the truth is that I'm not buying another. I rely on you guys when something comes out and y'all hit me up right away and say, Pat, don't get it. Start using your junk first before you start thinking about what you want to do with. I mean, I have this thing. Oh, I saw the clip that you did with Kirk Nugent. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm here and I'm talking. I want another camera to see me here. And sometimes I want the gear I have. That's a man thing. You know what I mean? I want them to see the gear that I have. I want to use the rest of my camera. Sometimes I'm looking at what I'm using here, and I want a camera to show down on what I'm doing. But I'm not using it. It's sitting over here rotten. This one's sitting over here rotten. I'm sitting here with the Blackmagic Pro ISOs that I wanted to record everywhere. That ain't doing nothing. I mean, I'm just sitting here.
Yeah.
I'm not doing
just
anything.
Sitting around collecting dust. I understand.
Yeah, so GAS was what? What's the 3? What was the
Gear
acronym?
Acquisition Syndrome. Where you need to get the latest and greatest thing that drops just because it dropped. Right. But we need to transition from gear acquisition syndrome to gear acquisition strategy. If you acquire something, it's for a reason. And maybe even for a season. Depending on your goals.
Yeah. Like right now, I'm going to tell you this. The Rodecaster Pro 2, I've decided that I need to know everything about it. No, Miguel, I'm not giving it away. I need to know everything about it. No, really. So let me give you a great example. I spend $150 a month on the call-in. There's this thing that I got called this. It's cool. You can have the talent on one side and the screener on the other side. It is great. I'm saying when I take a call, my son's upstairs and he's like, this person is Miguel from New York. I click on the button. I'm saying, Miguel from New York, you're on the line. You understand what I'm saying? And he comes up and I got it all queued and everything. But that's $150 a month, dog. That's $1,500 a year. And I don't use it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, Ecamm can bring in Zoom. I'm saving $150 a month, but my heart says I've had it for years. which means if I had it for 3 years, I've spent $40-something $100 on something that I don't even use in 3 years. If you understand what I'm saying, I don't use it. Now I'm gonna tell you this: if I got sponsorship that's gonna pay for that, I'm good. Even though you could use Zoom, it's just quick and professional. But it's not worth it if I have to spend $150 a month. I'm not even using it, and I'm not making any money off of it. So those are the little things I went through. This is what I did last month. I went through my bank account to look at everything that comes out. Envato, Motion Array, story blocks, all of that comes out. Have that
Pro?
account with Canva Pro. I'm not getting rid of my Canva. That's just it. I mean, but Canva Pro, when I looked at everything down the line, I put it in an Excel file. I was paying at that time, and we talked about last month, I was paying about $1,300 a month.
Wow.
On stuff that I don't use readily.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Now I got a little spoiled with it because some things you can get from the conference because you use it for ministry. Some things you get, but then it's even in that I still took on that, the majority of it, and like 80% of it, to tell you the truth, and what am I doing? So that's why I made this thing called Tip Jar, that people could leave, funds and whichever, have left funds, but I'm not consistent enough for them to say, I'm going to continue giving you that $10 a month. So I got to get on the ball.
Yeah. Let some things go. And with your clarified focus, go all in on where you want to go, who you want to reach, and what you've been called to do.
Yeah. So I'm thanking you guys for this. I want to bring some people along with me on the podcasting. Matter of fact, you have, I think you saw Cerise Woodard that's there.
Yes.
Cerise Woodard that's there. She does, she's not podcasting yet, but she talks about trafficking. She talks about
sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sex trafficking. Man, I didn't know how deep that joint is, like really deep, man. And that's so I know that she would do podcasting with that, and start her own world. I have so many friends that's like, hey, Pat, I want to do, and I haven't even started. I'm sorry to tell you this, 10,000 people that everybody thinks is following. Matter of fact, they're not even following me like that. You see what I'm saying? So I need to I got some homework to do. Let me just put it that way. I got some homework to do.
Yeah. And invite all your friends. When I have the link ready, I will make it public so folks can register for the free masterclass, because I'll be sharing a lot of helpful information in just 1 hour. 1 hour, folks. And it's going to be well worth your time, whether you are thinking about starting a podcast, whether you already have one or you started and you pod faded, whether you have one that's monetized and you want to scale it. I got something for everybody.
I'm going. Is it going to be on the Sabbath or?
Don't worry about it. You'll see it when it comes out, bro.
Listen, man. Thanks for this, man. I appreciate it.
Hey,
I really do.
I want to thank you both for hanging out with me on the live to have this discussion publicly. Thank you to everyone in the comment section. I mean, we had 44 comments tonight. Shout out to all of you. Thank you all for showing up, whether you came early, in the middle, or late like Jason Bolgen. We love you just the same. And we are wishing you all the best on all your endeavors. That's another brother right there who's super talented, has multiple gifts.
Yes, he is.
I pray this year God allows you to find focus and clarity and intention with what you do this year.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm going to invite all my friends. I'm telling you that now. I'm going to invite everybody. And I just think that if I bring 25 people, I should get the big Bible. That's what I do. I'm sorry. I'm still stuck on that. I should get the big Bible.
I'll send you a Bible after I get that microphone.
Yes, one person will get this microphone mailed to them. Never opened, never unsealed, directly from Shure, the new Shure MV7i with an interface on the inside with USB and XLR capabilities. It's a beast. I'm so excited to give it away.
So you're telling me I could take that microphone? I don't need any interface. I could take
no interface, no cloud lifter, no. And you can plug this SM7B into that microphone using USB, and the interface will juice them both from your laptop with no interface. So you can use it on the road for a 2-person setup.
I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it.
Or you can just use it for yourself and plug it into your laptop or interface. Whatever you want to do.
I'm not buying it.
Just because you have a Rolls Royce doesn't mean you have to, flex all the time, right? I mean, you can just cruise on Sundays and leave it in the garage. It's up to you what you do with it. Well, that's all, folks. We're going to sign off. Thanks, and you all have a good night. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Patrick.
Yep.
I'll see you.
Thanks.
You all take care. Shout out to Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You all take care. If you want to be in on the masterclass announcement when it comes out, just send me a DM and I'll make sure that it gets to you. You all take care.
Peace.
Peace.